Merhaba, Tuğba İnanç'la Yaşam Boyu Öğrenme kanalıma hoş geldiniz. Bugün yanımızda dünyanın gerçekten çok önemli eğitimcilerinden biri olan Gavin McCormack var. Bu görüşmemizi İngilizce yapacağız ama aşağıya altyazı ekleyeceğiz. Hazırsanız bu harika eğitimciyle konuşmaya başlıyorum. Hello Gavin, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, great, thank you. Thank you so much for doing this with us. And like people in Turkey are going to watch you and learn more about you and your education philosophy. And we are very happy to host you here. So can you tell us about yourself a little bit, please?
Firstly, thank you for having me. It's nice to be here, Tugba. I'm a big fan of yours too, so I appreciate you inviting me, and I love your backdrop. Yes, Turkey. First of all, I was in a conference in Turkey just a few weeks ago. Beautiful people, lovely teachers, a lot of amazing things going on there, which is really, really cool. Apart from that, your schools have been closed for about a year or more, so that's a bit shocking. But to me, yes. So my name is Gavin McCormack. Thanks for having me. I am a school principal over in Sydney, Australia. But I have done a lot of work in the Himalayas. I'm a big fan of going to Nepal because I love climbing and I love mountains. So I thought, can I do some work while I'm in Nepal? And so I've started building schools there. And I built over the years about 7 or 8 schools now, and I run the two biggest teacher training centers in the country, one in the north and one in the south. And we've trained thousands of teachers over the last 4 or 5 years in Nepal. I'm also a children's author. I write children's books, and I run an organization called Education Influence, which you are a member of, and I'm happy to have you. And anybody out there who wants to join, we are happy to welcome you. And basically, Education Influence is a place where teachers around the world can join, come together and work together and collaborate just like this. So this is a perfect example.
Yeah, this is really amazing. And I'm really happy to be part of your initiation, Education Influence. And I think you have been teaching for the last 25 years. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to learn, how have you decided to change your teaching style? What's happened to make you finally understand that this shouldn't be this way? I need to change it. What is that moment that make you feel like there is something wrong in this?
Okay, that's a really good question. So I think you have to go back to the beginning, right, for that point. And we're all on some kind of journey. So I'm, 43 years old. I've been doing this a long time, for most of my life. In fact, I thought about it the other day. I've never been out of school. I was in school when I was 2, and now I'm 43, and I've always been at school in some capacity. So I've been teaching for 25 years, but also I was a student for the first 20 years. So I knew what it was like to be a student, and then knew what it was like to be a teacher. So you've really been doing this for your entire life, in actual fact, this thing we call education. So when I was a teacher, first of all, I worked in a school that was pretty standard, principal gave the orders, we did what he said, and we handed in our paperwork. He told us, Gavin, you will teach this curriculum, go and teach it. And, there was parts of the time when I thought this wasn't such a great curriculum. It was all right. I thought, oh, well, I'll teach it anyway. It said I've got to teach, whatever it was, Antarctica. And I thought, well, I don't really like Antarctica. I'd rather be teaching Asia. But my principal was like, no, you'll teach Antarctica because it's in the curriculum. And so I did that for a few years, and I realized that why I was doing that. I was doing it for the principal because the principal had an exam at the end of the term, which he had written. And that exam was on Antarctica. And he wanted good grades so that he could then show the Department of Education, my students are good, because they got grade A's, and here are my grades, and look how good we are, and put us at the top of the ranking piles. And because all the schools are in competition with each other, that's the way that it goes. We're all on this wheel of get our students to get grade A's, so school looks good, so the school looks great, and the country looks fantastic, and education's wonderful. But actually, that's not the truth, is it? In actual fact, that education is not the truth. That's not what children want. They don't want to be told, you're going to learn this. What we actually should be saying to our students is, hey guys, I've got this thing that I have to teach you. It's about continents. There's 7 continents. I'm going to choose Asia because I love Asia. I'm going to teach you a little bit about Asia. And then you can choose a continent that you want to do some research on. And which one would you like? And all the kids go, oh, yeah. I want to do North America, because actually I was born in North America and I know a lot about it. And you say, okay, that sounds wonderful. Another child says, I've never been to North America. Do you think I can work with you? Because we can work together. And off they go on their little project on North America. Anyway, a week later, they all come back with their continents, different styles, collaboration, teamwork. They all represent their research to the whole class. And not only did the children learn from each other, but we also learn from the children too. They teach us things that we didn't know about North America or about South America, because they're from there. Their grandfather's from there. And when they go home to do their research, they ask grandfather, hey, grandfather, what was it like growing up in so-and-so? Well, let me tell you a story about growing up in so-and-so, and they come back to class and share it with us. And it was, at that point in my life when I realized I'm doing this for the wrong reasons. I want to be a teacher. I love teaching. I love the whole thing. I love the kids and their eyes. Wow, I love that. But I also love it when they come back and they're inspired by their own actions. I love that. And I think that we miss out on that in so many teaching platforms. We miss out on the fact of giving the children ultimate freedom, saying, yes, you can do it. I don't mind if you make a mistake. I'll be here to guide you, but I'm not going to tell you everything. And I'm not bothered about what grade you get. All I'm really bothered about is what you were yesterday compared to where you are today. If you're better than yesterday in any form, then we're making progress, and I'm happy with that. And then I haven't looked back since. And, it's a difficult journey because many schools are stuck. Governments are stuck. 200 years ago, they don't want to move because it's too much work. They've already got their curriculums in place. They've already got their exams set. But we're doing an injustice to our students, unfortunately, because they don't want that. And the future doesn't need that.
Yeah. I mean, when did you meet with Montessori education, and how did you change your education philosophy according to it?
So I was working in a Muslim school over in Sydney, an Islamic school.
Yeah.
Where I learned how to recite the Quran, actually, which is pretty cool. I was in Arabic class every day. Anyway, I worked there for 10 years. And I had this, I was the deputy there. So there was a really tough class, The kids were tough. And the principal said, look, Gavin, can you take this class? The kind of kids where you said, what do you want to be when you get older? And the kid says, I want to be a gangster. And you say, why do you want to be a gangster? And they say, because I hate the police, right? So I'm going into this class. And the principal says, look, we don't have much space in the school, so I'm going to give you this tiny little room with 30 kids. And these kids are massive. These Lebanese boys are coming in, they've got muscles coming out of their neck. They're like, Mr. McCormack, and they don't want to be at school. They just want to go to a garage. They want to work on cars. They want to hang out at the shopping mall. They don't want to be at school. And I'm at the front trying to teach them fractions. They don't care about fractions. And I'm like, how am I going to get these kids to learn something here? This is going to be tough. This is going to be a hard year. Yeah. My principal at the time, she's like, you can do it. If any teacher in the world that I know can do it, you can do it. Go for it. Go on, give it a try. So then I thought, look, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? I wasn't a Montessori teacher then. I was just a normal teacher like you. I got the curriculum and I pulled it all apart. And I thought, I better make this learning real. I've got to make it real for these kids. So I sat down with all the children and I interviewed all of them. And I said, I don't really know you, but I want to know you. Tell me about you. Where do you live? You got any brothers? Where are you from? What do you love? What's your passions? And they sat down, they told me some stuff. And then I built the curriculum around each of them, each one of the kids in the class. One kid was a mechanic. He wanted to be a mechanic, right? That's all he wanted. He wanted to be a mechanic. And I remember him distinctively because he didn't want to come to school. He was always in trouble. His mum was a single mum. He didn't want to come to school. He wanted to be a mechanic. So I built the whole year around cars and mechanics. Maths was about engineering, about, engine pressures, tire pressure, all that stuff. I linked it to everything that he loves. And I won them. I won them over. In a month, I had them all. They were loved school so much. And I trusted them. I left my wallet on the table and my phone. I left everything. I didn't care. I said, I trust you. I said, I really trust you. You know, if it goes missing, then, you know, then I'll be really upset. But you know that I love you guys and I want you to have an amazing future. And I need you to trust me like I trust you. I trust you completely. And we built this wonderful friendship together. And I realized on this one day, was one beautiful day, this mum, she came to school and her daughter had come into school sick. And she'd come through the reception and the principal was there at the time. And she said, oh, you can't bring your daughter to school. Look how sick she is. And the mum said to the principal at the time, she said, you know the problem I'm facing? And the principal said, no. And she said, my daughter last year, she used to pretend she was sick to avoid school. This year, when she's sick, she pretends to be well, so I bring her to school. And then the principal looked at me and he was like, I told you you could do it. And then you realize at that point that if you build the curriculum around the children, then they're way more invested than telling them what they need to learn. And then, you know, I had an observation from the government and the lady said, are you a Montessori teacher? And I said, no. She said, you should look at Montessori. I think you might be one, but you don't know about it yet. And so I went and had a look and I was like, wow, this is amazing. I'm already halfway there. I think like this, you know? And then I did a degree in Montessori and now I'm the principal of a Montessori school. So here we are.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a great story. And I really like the philosophy of Montessori education and how you trust the kids and how you just give them to be independent learners, right? And also, like, I think you are very good at this because you were chosen the best principal of the year last year. What happened? What is that story?
In Australia, we have this awards ceremony every year where they have like Principal of the Year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was nominated for Principal of the Year last year here in Australia, and it was, you know, embarrassing because I don't think it's embarrassing. So you don't think like that. You just come to work, you do your job the best you can, you try to get the kids where they need to be, and then, you know, I'm not really bothered about those awards, to be honest with you. It's nice when you get them. My mum is very proud when she's like, oh my God, my son, he was nominated for Australian of the Year and Principal of the Year and all these wonderful things. But look, you know, because I run a school where we don't really care about rankings or percentages of scores or, you know, ultimately, the school I'm in right now, we have rewards. In all the schools I've worked before, when a child does a good work, we give them a gold star or a red sticker or a tick or something. In the school I run, our rewards are that the children get to do something amazing with the work they have just produced. For example, today I have just taught a lesson on the oceans, right? This morning with my students. So we taught the oceans, and I'll just give you a quick glimmer of what it looked like very quickly. So it looked like this. We did an overhead view of the oceans, and I built this beautiful thing, and it was like, okay, the sun heats the algae is eaten by the shrimps, the fish eat the shrimp, the penguins eat the fish, and the orca eats the penguins. This is the oceanic food chain, right?
Yeah.
Right. So in many, many schools, what you will do with this is you will teach it, and you'll say, now guys, you need to make one of these, and then when you've made it, I'll tick it, and that's 100%. Well done, right? That's in most schools in the world, you will just copy what I have just done, but not in my school. In my school today, we said this. We gave this to the children, and then I said, ooh, what would happen if I polluted the ocean and the shrimps suddenly started to become extinct? And all the kids are 6, and the children put their hand up and they said, oh, Gavin, if there's no shrimp, there'll be no fish. So I removed the fish. Then the child said, but then there'll be no penguins. I removed the penguins. But then there'll be no there'll be no killer whales. And I removed this. I went back to the class and I said, what are you going to do about that? Because we are polluting the oceans right now, today, every day. And one child says, I'm going to make a poster about saving the oceans, and I'm going to stick it down in the local village. And then the whole kids, all 26 of them, said, we're all making posters. And so I didn't need to tell them what they need to do next. I didn't need to tell them, you will make my diagram. Like, who cares about making this diagram? Nobody. What we care about is action. What we care about is empowerment. What we care about is, doing the right thing morally and ethically. So every one of my children today have gone home with some work to do. I didn't tell them to do it. They decided what they were doing. One child said it and the rest were inspired. And I know now when I walk home tonight down the street into the village, there'll be posters everywhere. Save our oceans, protect the waters, save our shrimps. And that is education. That is it. That is what it's about. It's not about a grade, not about a percentage, not about any of that garbage. It's about exactly that. I've taught you this. What are you going to do with it? And the children say, I'm going to do this with it. And that's it.
That's great. And I also know that you want to spread this philosophy all around the world. And at the beginning of our interview, we talked about how you went to Nepal to build schools there. Can you tell us the story behind it? Like how that happened and how much effort did you put there and what's going on there right now?
Oh my God. Okay. How long have you got? Do we have 5 hours? No, I'm joking. I'll try.
Okay, you have only 3 minutes now. Just take
okay. No. Okay. Yes. So I like mountains. I wanted to go to the Himalayas, and I'm a Montessori teacher, so I know there was a Montessori school there. I looked it up online. It wasn't very good. So I called the guy from Sydney, the guy who owns the Montessori school in Nepal. I said, hey, I want to come and I want to help you. I want to help you set your school out. I want to make it a little bit better. It's not that great. I want to come and give you some materials, do some painting and help you out. He said, no problem. So I filled my bags with stuff and I got on the plane and I was flying to the Himalayas and I stopped in Thailand, in Bangkok. And I thought I'd just call him to make sure he's going to be at the airport. So I called him. He said, I'm so sorry, Gavin. I got all my dates wrong. Actually, I'm going away. I'm going to Qatar. I'm not going to be here. I said, what are you talking about? I'm like at the air. I've left my job. I'm at the airport. I've got 16 suitcases filled with Montessori materials. He said, I'm so sorry. I'm actually in Qatar now. So anyway, I was like, oh God. So I put the phone down and I was like, this is a test of my patience. So I just opened Google and I typed in Montessori school and I clicked number 2 in Nepal. And I called the guy and he was like, hello. And I said, hello, this is crazy story, but I'm 3 hours away from Nepal. I got 17 suitcases filled with books, materials, everything. I'm coming to Nepal. I want to come and help your school and fit it out for you. And he's like, oh my God, is this a message from God? And I said, no, it's not. That's what he said. Anyway, he met me at the airport. I went to his school. It was terrible. And so I worked there for a month for him and I fitted it out. I trained all his teachers. We got it to be so beautiful. And he said, I'd like you to be the honorary principal of my school. And I said, I'd love to be. And then we became great friends, me and him. And, we built another training center at the south of Nepal. And then people started to know who we were and what we were doing. We guaranteed every woman that came to the center a job for free. We guaranteed that. And then we built a school for those teachers. Then we built another school and another and another and another. Anyway, we built lots of schools now. And it's beautiful work. It's beautiful work. Because, I live in Australia where we have lots of money and people are willing to give that money away to good causes. So I just say to the people out there in the world, I need this. And then people just send it. I have my house is filled with books, pencils, everything you can dream of. I could build 5 schools tomorrow. I just need the borders to open so I can go back and continue my work. But this is life, right? You only have one chance to be alive on this world. And I don't want to be sitting on my deathbed when I'm 85 years old saying, you know what, I wish I'd have done something I really cared about. I wish I'd have done that. I could have bought a fast car. I could have bought a big house. I live in a tiny apartment, tiny. Your living room you're sitting in right there is bigger than my whole apartment. So this is life. This is what work's about, and I put my life to this. So until I can't walk anymore, I won't stop. So Nepal is not good now. COVID is causing problems, but it will be fine. It will be fine. I'm just waiting for things to get better. And maybe you can come and your listeners can come and help me.
Yeah, sure. I hope so. I have one last question. Actually, I want you to explain it in detail because I think it's very important. You just launched this education influence platform, and you try to create a team who has similar mindset and spread the new education idea all around the world, and you really work so hard to be successful in that. But I want to ask you, what do you want to achieve? Like, what was your vision to establish education influence?
Okay, so this is why I did it. And I was very lucky. I had the idea for a long time, and then I was like just thinking about how can I make it work. And I thought, when I get to 60,000 followers on LinkedIn, I can do it. Because I just thought I would use that. And recently, people followed me online and I got 60,000 followers. It's like, okay. And that's not a lot of followers. That's only a small amount for some people have hundreds of millions of followers. But all the followers that I had were teachers. Like, they were dedicated teachers who thought like me, wanted to make a difference in the world. So I made Education Influence, and I started to invite teachers that I saw online who were doing good work. And what I call big work. Like, there's work, but there's big work. And work is when you're in your classroom and you're doing some teaching, that's work, right? Big work is when you're saying, okay, children, how can we help somebody in Nairobi or in Bangladesh? Or how can we connect with a school in Canada? And that's big work, because big work is when you have connectivity between nations across the world for one joint cause. So I wanted to do my own big work. I thought, how can I get all of these teachers who feel the same? Like, there's Facebook groups, there's WhatsApp groups, there's everything, but there's not a place where you can see on a big map of the whole world, there are thousands of teachers who think like me. And when I click their profile and write them a message saying, is it okay if my students write a letter to your students at your school? That the other person will say, no problem. Here's my school address. Please send the letters. Like, so accessible, so easy. Like, I have a friend of mine recently, he's a secondary school teacher. He's decided we were talking on a walk. He decided, by the way, his name's Jack. So Jack, if you're out there, hello. He's a dear friend of mine. He said for his assessment process for his students, he's got 13, 14-year-old students, he's going to teach them about media. But in order to assess them, he wants them to prepare a lesson and teach the lesson to some students in a school overseas in another country. He said, Gav, could you help me find a school? And I thought to myself, why do I need to help you? Surely there's a place you can go. But there was no place. So I made that place. So tomorrow he could click you, Tugba, and you say, yeah, I'm working in this school. Here's the address, send the letters. And you can trust him and he can trust you. And you can build that collaboration together. And then our students ultimately get to see their power. Like, his students, when they do that lesson, wherever the school may be, Bangladesh or India, Nepal, whatever it is, those students, they get to see, oh my God, I'm 14. I just educated like 20 children in Bangladesh. I did not realize I had that power within me. Suddenly, boom, you have the power to do that. So the idea ultimately is to build a network, but my ultimate goal is so our students get to understand that their voice, even though it's so small, is so powerful. And that is the ultimate driver behind all of this. And if it fails, c'est la vie, but it won't. I won't stop until it works. It's working already. We have 13,000 members sitting in application, and we have 300 that we've processed so far. You're one of them. Yeah. And I'm happy to have you as part of our team, which is very fortunate to have you.
Thank you. I'm really happy, and I am pretty sure it's going to be very successful. And thanks for doing it for everybody. So I have can you just give some advices for teachers, like especially new teachers who are at the beginning of their careers? Like, what would you tell them to really make an impact in their classrooms, in the education world, or generally in the world?
I would say two really important things. Number one, don't forget how important you are is the first important one. You're a professional. You're a teacher. Many people think that teaching is easy. You play in the sand, you roll around on the carpet with your shoes off, drawing pictures and blah, blah, blah. But you're a professional. You don't go to the doctor or a surgeon and you ask him, are you sure this is the right medication? Are you sure this is the right part of my arm to operate on? You don't ask that question because they are a profession. Teachers are professionals. Nobody should question what we do. You know, we know what we're doing. This is our livelihood. This is our life. So number one, don't forget your value as a teacher. When you go to the job interview, you know, and the principal or whoever's interviewing you asks you, do you have any questions? You say this, yeah, I have a question. Will you allow me to be the teacher that I dream I always could be? And if they say no, then you leave and you get a job somewhere else, because you don't want to live a lie. You want to be working in a place where you can encourage your students and inspire them through your own passions. Like, you are a person with inspiration within, and you're a professional at the same time. So you should be able to walk into your classroom and say, guys, we're going to learn about volcanoes and I'm going to make sure you love them. And the kid's like, oh my God, look how passionate he is about this. This is unbelievable. Suddenly, boom, all of your children are sold. They all want to learn because you are so enthusiastic about that. But if the school says, I'm so sorry, I can't let you be the teacher that you really want to be because I have this document here. It's a curriculum that I wrote. Here you go. You have to say the words on that document because I've got a test that the kids have got to pass at the end of it. And you said, see you later, bye. I'd rather work collecting garbage out of the river for free than work here, because you're living a lie. You're underselling yourself. Like, you're a teacher with the power within. If you want students to be powerful and inspirational, you've got to be given the freedom to do that yourself. That is number one, for sure. Number two, a good teacher knows when to teach, but a great teacher knows when not to teach. And this is a really important quote, I think. And what it really means is, you don't have to be at the front the whole time as the showman, the showpiece. You know, you're not just a speaker dictating information into your children's brains. What you are is you're a bridge. So you say to children, I'm going to inspire you about something, but then I don't know everything. So I'm going to let you go then. You know, I'm going to tell you something really cool, and then I'm going to step back, because that allows you to observe. And when you observe your students, you really get to know them. And ultimately, when you know your students, you get the best out of them. So look, it's two things. Make sure that you're valued, number one. And number two, make sure that you also value your time of not teaching, because that allows you to observe your students when they're in their natural habitat, which is the classroom, and you get to know them a lot better. And when you know them, success is just around the corner. So that would be my ultimate advice to any teachers. That's what I give to my own teachers. So, you know, I've got teachers working here, and I trust them completely. And I don't mind if they make a mistake, because we learn valuable things from making mistakes, as long as it's not a mistake where they let a child escape or use acid in the classroom or something like that. Those things aren't happening.
Sure, yeah. Thank you so much. I'm really happy to have you here today, and I'm really happy to be part of your platform, and I'm pretty sure that we are gonna achieve great things together, and we have started already. And yeah, thank you again. And I hope people who watch this really understand what you are trying to achieve here and how you try to make a difference in the world. And we are very happy to have you, Gavin. Thank you so much.
Now, I thank you, but before you go and cut me off, can I show you something very cool on all of your listeners in your channel? Is that cool? Yeah, sure. I know that a lot of Turkey has been remote learning for about a year, right? Yeah. And so I wanted to share with you a little bit of technology that they might want to use. Very, very simple. All of you at home, all people now have iPhones, right? And if you're teaching on a computer like I'm now, I've got a camera looking at me, just as you have, Tugba, at your end. But with a very simple cable on your iPhone, you can actually connect to an overhead camera. I'll just tilt my thing here so you can see. So just above me, this is just my iPhone connected to my computer, and a little bit of technology that I've downloaded for free. And when you have that ability, you can just flick a little button like this, and bingo, your iPhone turns into an overhead camera. So you can, you're teaching to the children, you say to this, okay, guys, today we're going to be learning about the water and the ocean biome. We're going to learn about predators and prey. Wouldn't you like to see what it looks like? Here it is. And you can move this around. The kids are like, wow, that's my teacher's hand. I can't believe that. And you can show them and demonstrate. But you can also, if you wanted, connect an iPad to the same computer. Same technology, you flick a button and suddenly the iPad is visible here. And, you can do anything on Google Earth here. You can suddenly go, well, we want to go to Mount Vesuvius in Italy, everyone. We're all locked down. Let's go to Mount Vesuvius together. Here it is. Yeah. And so we're at Mount Vesuvius. This is an old dormant volcano. Why don't we go and have a look inside this volcano? And you have a look inside the crater. You can rotate around this volcano just like this. You can examine it. This is just Google Earth connected to an iPad. And so this is very simple to do, really, really simple. And Google Earth allows you to go anywhere in the world. I mean, I know you're in Istanbul now. We could literally go to Istanbul if we wanted. We can have a look inside. The capabilities by a simple bit of technology are very, very easy.
Yeah. Oh, this is very cool. So you can go back to your hands and then
back to your hands. So you're here, then you're overhead, and then you're back to your face. And it's very, very simple technology. You don't even have to touch the computer. It's really, really easy. So if you've got an iPad, how many people have? You've got an iPhone, then you have this. So it's very cool.
Thanks for showing us this. I think it's very cool. Like nowadays in Turkey, we have this face-to-face education, but last year it was really difficult during this remote learning, and some schools didn't have the technology. Some teachers and some kids, they didn't even have access to internet, so it was really tough time. And I mean, who knows what's going to happen, but we need to be prepared for everything in this world. This is what I learned from last year's experience. And there are some very lucky kids, like your kids, they can have everything in once, and you can still just make them super excited to learn things, right? And it's a very interesting world. I hope really technology can be accessible to everybody.
But remember, this is a really interesting point to note, is that for me, on this side of the screen, I have 30 children, right, looking at me. Yeah. So it's not great for me because I've got 30 kids and they're not here. I can't, I'm not with them. But if you think about it like this, Tugba, for them, they have you one-on-one. They're actually having a one-on-one experience on their side. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So what I found this term is some concepts which are really hard to teach, like, area of quadrilaterals, volume of cuboids, to children who are 7. I've never taught that to a 7-year-old. But this term, with this technology, and this isn't expensive, it's just a phone and an iPad and a laptop. With this, I've managed to teach really, really complicated concepts. And I think that's because they have me one-on-one, but also they have this opportunity to go overhead. So I can show them, this is how you write it, this is how you draw it, this is how you cut it, and they see it they never get to see it like that. So I think I'm not a big fan of tech. I am more of a tactile, hands-on person than being a Montessori teacher. Mm-hmm. I've got to say, when you get it right, it works really well. Yeah, I can see it. It looks really fun and attractive to kids. And of course, this one-on-one thing is also another thing, because you sometimes can lose students in a regular classroom setting. But this feels like this teacher is all mine. He's teaching to me. That's a great feeling. So we will see advantage and disadvantage of all these remote learning thing in the future. And I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people who works on it. Maybe we need to do both, remote and face-to-face, because when you combine these, you can have a better education system, maybe. Maybe a bit of a hybrid. Yeah, we will see. Okay, Gavin, thank you so much. I've already said everything. Do you want to add anything? Yeah, look, I'd just like to say thank you to you too. When I approached you saying, would you like to be an education influence, and you applied, I was extremely happy. And you've only been there for 2 weeks, but you've also made so many connections. And I know you emailed all of our users, and you're already doing everything that I dreamed of that people would do. And I'm sure that you will go on to be unbelievably amazing in the future, and the world is your oyster. So that's what it's there for, build a platform, and people will use it in the right way.
Yeah, and thank you. Like, you're an inspiration for me to make all these things, and yeah, thank you. Okay, bye bye guys. I think I'm gonna make this part in Turkish. İzlediğiniz için çok teşekkür ederiz. Kendinize iyi bakın. Kanalıma abone olmayı unutmayın. Hoşça kalın. Bye bye.